Hey, doofus.
Oh, hi!
Hey, how about another show?
Sure. Any suggestions?
How about the usual surprises?
Business as usual. I can't believe you guys did all this for me. You know, what's the smell? Bacon? Oh, Bobby, my head hurts. I'm seizing. Ah!
Nurse, he's seizing! Oh, shit! Man, I feel like a total jackass. I'll have to make it up to the poor guy later. Employee of the Month, Carlita Mendez. Ugh, what a joke. It's that obnoxious nurse. A computer. They likely keep records of their patients on it. Employee of the... Rows and columns of files. Probably easier to use the computer if I need to do some digging.
It's all right, Claude.
Understood, sir.
So, you managed to find me.
I did.
Well, let's get this over with then. How do you want your pictures? Shall I get some tubes to fill my face with? Will that suffice for your front page?
I'm no journalist. Well, not yet anyway.
Ah, she's but a cub. So, you're hoping for your big break. Surely this must be worth an internship at one of the big papers. Do you want me to call Thompson at the Times and get it over with? I still play golf with him every once in a while.
That's not what this is about. It's personal.
Sounds serious. Perhaps I should ask Claude to produce his gun.
You know, Charles, the person most likely to be harmed by a gun tends to be its owner.
Very true. That's something the Japs who captured me learned the hard way.
Did my grandfather bail you out then too, or was that one of the few times where he didn't save your sorry ass?
Hold on there. Explain yourself.
You're willing to listen to something other than your own voice? I'm stunned. I'm Kathy Rain. Joseph was my grandfather.
Now I remember. You were at the funeral.
I was.
You were late.
I needed my morning smoke. Besides, it's not like Grandpa was going anywhere.
Oh, just look at her, Claude. She's absolutely fearless. That's Joseph's blood running through her veins.
She certainly has a smart mouth, sir.
I must say, you have me intrigued, Kathy. What can this old man help you with?
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in '81?
I wish I did, Kathy. You must know I did everything in my power to help. How do you think Mary Elizabeth could afford all that expensive treatment? MRIs, neurologists, say what you will about Joseph. But he was never rich.
Strange. Grandma never mentioned that to me.
She's just too proud. At first she refused. She was convinced that I had an agenda, that there were strings attached.
And were there?
Don't be silly. Despite all that had happened, I still loved Joseph dearly. I wanted to help. People from places like this have a deeply rooted mistrust in the rich, passed on for generations. In her eyes, I had become one of them.
So that's all you know about the whole affair?
Are you implying that there's more to know? I left the diagnosis to the professionals. Mrs. Rain accepted the healthcare, but asked me to stay out of everything else. So I did.
I see. What can you tell me about your friendship with Grandpa?
Joseph was the best friend I ever had. We grew up together, married our high school sweethearts together, went to war together. I can't even begin to count the number of times he's saved my life. I repaid the favor once or twice, but he came up ahead, no doubt.
So when did you two lose touch? I heard that something happened between you and him. What was it?
The truth is, Brian Rain happened. Sharon Evans happened.
My parents?
Yes. They ruined everything with their vile, destructive behavior. I couldn't have that around my daughter or my newborn grandson. Joseph was naive. He believed that anyone could be helped, that anyone could be reasoned with, given a chance. He was just too good, bless him. He should have been harder on Brian, more strict.
I wouldn't mind teaching my old man some manners myself, wherever he is.
Yes, of course. You must understand this better than anyone. People like your father simply cannot grasp how far their bad influence spreads. So our family started drifting apart. Eventually, my company grew much too large for this little town, and we moved on. Not long after that, your grandfather ended up in that wheelchair. That marked the end of our friendship, for obvious reasons.
What do you see in this picture, Charles?
Fireflies would be my best guess. They can grow terribly large around these parts.
You bought a number of paintings by Lily Myers. Why?
I'm known to dabble in art from time to time. Martha, my wife at the time, was enamored with the paintings. I believe she first saw them at the high school which the Myers girl attended. Anyway, after the poor girl killed herself, I bought the paintings speculatively. When a young artist with any talent to speak of commits suicide, it can be a wet dream of certain connoisseurs. Shortly after procuring the art, I had it valued by an expert who determined that the value was 3 times the amount I bought it for. Today, I'm sure I would have made my money back tenfold or more if it wasn't for the art theft.
What art theft?
There was a burglary at the mansion I used to own here in town. It was all over the local news at the time.
Well, shit.
Eloquently put.
Do you recognize the call sign Cocky?
Would be strange if I didn't, since I was the one who coined it. It belongs to a fellow named Jimmy Cochran. He was a coward, really. The nickname is somewhat of a bad joke.
Perfect. Thanks. Do you recognize this, Charles?
Of course. Your grandfather, me, Jimmy Cochran, taken shortly before we went to the war.
You guys look like you just won the lottery or something.
Indeed. We were mere children, with no concept of what we were getting into.
Tell me about Jimmy Cochran. Is he still alive?
In a literal sense. He's been held in a mental institution for years.
Let me guess. Since 81?
Either 82 or 83. I'm fairly certain it was early 83.
Do you remember the name of the institution?
Something starting with an E. Emerson, Everton, or similar.
Ingstrom? Ingstrom Psychiatric Hospital?
Yes, that's the one. You know the place, Kathy.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've passed the building a few times in the city. So, do you know why Jimmy ended up in there?
Some obsessive-compulsive syndrome. He became fixated with circles and started hurting himself, trying to scratch the circles out of his head.
Creepy. I wonder what set him off. I think I'll check the place out tomorrow. Too late to head back to the city now. Can you tell me about the art theft?
Well, somebody broke in, stole the paintings, and got out. Fairly clumsy job. Lots of broken windows. The strangest thing was that I had a Monet, a Rembrandt, and 2 paintings by Picasso, untouched. But every single painting by an unknown local artist, gone.
That can't be a coincidence.
Agreed. Somebody wanted those paintings badly.
I assume there was an investigation.
Yes, Sheriff Truman came by with his deputy a few hours later, but they didn't have much luck. They found a few hairs, which turned out to be from Ruffles, the family dog.
Some stunning police work right there.
Indeed. There was a single witness, though, who said he could make out multiple burglars leaving the scene of the crime, but nothing more than that.
So, I take it the case was closed?
Yes. I honestly didn't care much one way or the other, given the fact that my most expensive pieces were safe and sound.
I think I'll have a chat with the sheriff about the matter, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. I'll call ahead and instruct him to give you everything you need.
That'd be great. Thanks, Charles.
Anytime. But I'm curious, what's your interest in the paintings?
I've learned that my grandfather went to Sue and asked to see them, right before he had his injury.
Is that so? Strange.
What can you tell me about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
They seem like any other church to me. But then again, I'm not their usual clientele. Weddings, baptisms, and funerals are just about what I can muster. And I always leave early.
Do you know what this is?
A flower? Why don't you consult a botanist instead of bothering me with this nonsense?
Do you know what this key opens?
You must be truly desperate if you ask random people a question like that.
Thanks, Charles. That's all I need for now.
You're welcome, Kathy. Come back anytime.
Looks like Wade brought some of his old tunes with him. Just some boring landscape paintings. A private phone. Wade must get special privileges here. That guy is huge. I wonder how many cows he eats per day. I'd rather not. He'd crush me like a twig. Well, this is it. This is where the picture was taken. I'm not sure what I expected to find here. I need to clear my head. What the?
We've met before, haven't we?
I doubt it. You look like you just escaped from a circus. That's not really my kind of gig.
Yet you always play the part of the clown, Kathy.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
You told me, remember?
I feel strange. Am I dreaming?
It's the mending I will try to facilitate.
You're not real. I'm lying asleep in my bed right now.
Focus, Kathy. Listen to the drowned girl.
You mean Lily? What about her?
She's the anomaly, the missing refrain, the convergence point of things past and events yet to happen.
Dial down the metaphors a notch, would you, Mr. Kafka? I get enough of that shit in English class.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint. I'm glad, given how much trouble I went through to be here. You see, my name was taken from me, so I claimed a color in its stead. The next time we meet, you'll know the exact hue of red. You're on the right path, Kathy. Follow your grandfather, and everything will work out in the end.
Wait, what? How did I get here? Am I going crazy? Am I turning into Mom?
Oh, hello, dear. Glad to see you again so soon.
Hi, Grandma. I just thought I'd drop by.
Sure, hon. Stay as long as you'd like.
Mind if we talk for a bit, Grandma?
Not at all, dear. What's on your mind?
Do you know anything about this flower, Grandma?
I can't say that I do. I remember seeing it growing in the woods, but I didn't think much of it at the time.
What do you see in this picture, Grandma?
I have no idea, but it's quite an eerie display. What is it?
I'm trying to figure that out. I found the picture hidden in the attic.
Oh, come to think of it, the trees do look similar to the ones in Conwell Woods.
Yeah, it was taken somewhere in that area. I found out that the flower in the picture matches a rare local species.
Aren't you clever? Do let me know if you come across anything else.
Do you know who Jimmy Cochran is? He was a friend of Grandpa's.
I believe he teaches at the flight school these days.
I don't think so, at least not anymore. I was told he was placed in a mental facility.
Really? He always struck me as a kind man, maybe a bit nervous and on edge, but not crazy.
There's more. I found out that Jimmy asked Grandpa for help not long before Grandpa ended up in that wheelchair. Jimmy sounded really desperate. I'm sure what happened to Grandpa that night had something to do with his cry for help.
You should go find the man then. Surely he must know something.
That's the plan. I just wondered if there's anything else you think I should know about him.
Not really. We haven't stayed in touch since Joseph was injured. I know that he had a wife, Agatha, and a son, James. Agatha passed away from cancer years ago, but as far as I know, James still lives in the city with his family.
Okay, thanks, Grandma. I don't see a reason to ask her about that. Well, gotta go, Grams. Talk to you later.
Bye, Kathy.
Looks like the rain finally stopped. Hello? Creepy bald guy. Guess no one's home. That wasn't here before. What's this? A bald man dressed in red. Oh, creepy. Why did someone leave this at the nature reserve? Looks like a specimen of the red scythe. It's endangered. I'm not going to take it without a really good reason.
Oh, it's you again. Come on in.
No Nathan today?
Nah, haven't seen Nate all day, probably out in the woods.
Looks like Nathan knows the strange red man. I need to talk to him about this. had a few more questions, Sue.
Shoot.
Do you know who the Red Man is?
Oh, that's just Nate's imaginary friend. The Red Man has been around ever since my boy was little.
I see. So there's no actual person in town he could be referring to?
No way! According to Nathan, the Red Man hasn't changed in 30 years.
Sounds like he has quite an active imagination then.
Oh, you have no idea. He has unique names for each of the kitchen utensils. Enough said.
Did you know that somebody stole Lily's paintings from Wade?
Huh? I knew he got robbed a few years back, but I thought he still had them all.
I don't need to ask her about that. I don't need to ask her about that. I think I'm gonna head off now.
Sure thing, little cat. Come back anytime.
It's the Catmobile, my custom chopper bike. Plenty of gas in the tank. She was born a '76 Corley Motors, but there aren't many original parts left. Took me a couple of years to make her perfect. Hello, Father.
Greetings, my child. I'm glad you decided to come here.
Yeah, but just so you know, I'm not here to join your church or anything.
Oh, I would never assume that.
Good. So, with that out of the way, I have some questions.
Anything you need. I'm Isaac Price.
Kathy Rain, but I'm guessing you figured that out already.
I did. Rumors spread quickly around here. So how can I be of service?